Welcome to Research Matters with Unda and Kuda, an online show that is all about communicating the research taking place at NUST in efforts to promote the university's research agenda and the impact thereof.
Welcome to another episode of Research and Innovation Matters right here on NUST FM. Another exciting edition. It is the Lüderitz edition of the Research Matters. And of course, it's so special because of all the plans that the Namibia University of Science and Technology has in store. And of course, it is 11:15 right here on NUST FM where we are reinventing sound. Yet again, I'm not alone. I'm with my very amazing co-host who will introduce our guest for this morning.
Thank you so much, Unda. You're so kind. I love it when you do this lovely intro. And it's great to be in studio. Now today with us we have Prof. Samuel John. You know, Prof has been with the institution for, did you know,
fun fact,
that he was the Dean of Engineering at some point?
I saw he's so familiar to me, but I couldn't say who he was, but I knew he was a profound person at NUST because I saw him everywhere, lectures everywhere.
I know this face.
Yes.
Now, great. Now he's with us in studio, and first and foremost, Prof, let me say welcome home.
Thank you very much.
The reason why I'm saying welcome home is we know you spent some time out of the country on mission in Germany. Can you tell us what that was all about? And also, I just mentioned you were Dean before, so just tell us a bit more about what you're doing now.
Yes, so thank you very much for inviting me, and such wonderful people I'm with. It's really nice to be back home. I spent 2 semesters in Rhein-Main-Hochschule in Germany, during which I actually was exploring more in the green hydrogen business or the green hydrogen research and green hydrogen landscape. Of course, we have also some master students that are doing the sustainable energy systems sponsored by the SASCAL scholarship, and they were also my responsibility to place them in various universities in Germany for their research, different research topics. And so I was doing a bit of that. My own personal students were with me in the same university. I actually left them in the lab still working, but they should be coming back very soon to continue with their research here. And I also was involved in organizing a summer-winter school, which has become very famous because the first one we had was in 2022. And then last year when we had another one, we are hoping to get like 200 people because we were using Zoom and we didn't want too many people. We wanted 200 and then we got more than 400 applications.
That's a big number.
Yes. And so we had to scale it down to 200. A couple of people were disappointed, but yes. And at the end of the winter summer school, we also invited those who were interested to get credit and get a certificate of competence to register and write an exam, which we actually use the NUST online facility for the exams. And about more than 60 people wrote the exams. So that shows us that this is a hot potato topic, as the Americans would say.
There's definitely a lot of interest. And I think it's so interesting, just as I highlighted earlier, that, you know, previously he was the dean. Now he's really also really involved directly with students, directly with partners, and just able to serve the institution in an entirely different capacity. Very exciting.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, Prof, you were speaking about having done some green hydrogen studies also in Germany. I'm just curious rather. Did you have to do this in German? Do you speak German?
Well, Sprechen Deutsch, but very klein.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know like 2-3 words.
Okay, I know more than 2-3 words.
That's great.
Wasserstoff is green hydrogen, for example, in German. And Wasserstoff Labor was where I was. That's the green hydrogen laboratory. So I picked a few German. But no, I taught 2 courses.
Okay.
In fact, I introduced a component of fire safety into one of their courses in Rhein-Main-Hochschule. And the students were very, engaging. I really enjoyed my time in Germany, having the German students, before me. So that's what I was doing. But I was teaching in English.
Okay.
And the students also loved it because it's like an opportunity for them to practice their English. Because when it comes to scientific matters these days, I think English is more used than the other languages.
All right, now, if you were speaking to a 5-year-old who has no idea what green hydrogen is all about, how would you explain it to them? What would you say?
Okay, this is a very difficult question because you can imagine I'm doing research at, let's say, high level. And I'm dealing with students who already know these things. So if I'm to explain this to a 5-year-old, or maybe in a primary school, I'm trying to give them an understanding of what green hydrogen is. I think I would start with helium because a lot of kids have had helium balloons, you know. And then I will explain to them that if we have 2 balloons, and one is filled up with helium and the other one with hydrogen, if they release the 2 balloons, the hydrogen balloon will actually be ahead of the helium balloon because hydrogen is lighter than helium.
I can actually visualize that.
Yes.
Okay, and then I will explain to them that, okay, you see, the hydrogen is got a lot of energy. We cannot see it, we cannot taste it, we cannot even smell it. But if you ignite it, it's going to give you a lot of energy. And we want to control that energy and use it for very important things in Namibia.
I think that was, you brought it down to our level so that we can grasp the concept of green hydrogen for sure.
That's awesome. Now, all eyes right now, I think it's like green hydrogen is becoming synonymous with Lüderitz. Yeah. Now, and all eyes are on Lüderitz. Prof, can you tell us what makes this town so special, and in particular in relation to NUST?
Yes, and I'm really always excited to talk about Lüderitz because when I was in Germany for my sabbatical, I had a couple of lectures, a lot of lectures in various fora, and one of the things I had to explain to them is the reason why everybody wants to come and produce green hydrogen in Namibia and why Lüderitz. So Lüderitz is one unique place where you can have almost 24/7 renewable energy. You know, we have the sun where we can get solar energy, but in as much as we have a lot of sun in Namibia and we have several days that are sunny, at night the sun doesn't shine. So you will need another source, another renewable energy source. And in Lüderitz we have the wind. And at times at night you have even more wind.
Yes.
So that combination, the synergy of solar irradiations, very good solar irradiation. And by the way, the solar irradiations in Namibia are the best in the world. I give you, let me break it down. Let me break it down for you. If you try to collect energy from 1 square meter of photovoltaic, that's the technology for getting energy from the sun. If you place one of such in Namibia and you place a similar one, same design, bought from the same market in Germany, you will produce 3 times amount of energy that Germany will produce from the same technology.
My goodness.
Which means that our renewable energy can be 3 times cheaper than what is produced in Germany. So Lüderitz is giving us that synergy of the wind and the good solar irradiations and good wind regimes makes it one of the ideal places on the planet to produce green hydrogen. By the way, green is not the color of hydrogen. Hydrogen itself is colorless, tasteless, non-toxic, non-poisonous, okay? But the color green is a code. So we have different codes. So when you produce hydrogen using renewable energy, then renewable energy and water, which means in the process there is no any CO2 that is released into the atmosphere, then it is called green hydrogen.
Oh, I see.
Because we already use hydrogen in many processes. It's not as if this is the first time we're going to start producing hydrogen. Hydrogen is being used all over the world in different things. It's used in refining petrol oil. It's used in food industry, in the pharmaceutical. It's used in so many aspects. But it is produced using fossil fuel. And the primary way we produce hydrogen at the moment is called the gray hydrogen, which means we take methane, which is from fossil fuel, CH4, and we split it into carbon and hydrogen. In the process, we release a lot of CO2.
I even learned the other day, but my head was starting to spin, so I stopped reading it. But there was pink hydrogen, there was green, there was blue, all sorts of colors. Hey?
Exactly.
So I said, okay, for now I'm just going to stick to the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the green is what is produced using renewable energy, water. You split the water by the process called electrolysis. In the process, you have hydrogen and you have oxygen, and there is no CO2 emission at all. That's green hydrogen. That's why it is called green hydrogen.
All right, now that is quite interesting, but I would like the listeners to just take a break with this song that you've requested. And this is by your daughter.
Yes.
Interesting enough. So I'm trying to see, did the musician or music gene skip you and you went into academics? Or how did you
get
to a point where...
delegate this request?
And what does it make you think of when you listen to the song that she's produced and written?
Oh, my daughter,
Yeah.
when I listen to her song, she's been singing since she's quite very, very small. In fact, she started by doing some kind of opera in the house.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't believe this, because she was doing ballet and she would sing opera, and I'm like, wow, that is a good voice, And so, I feel really good. So I listen to them. When I travel, I'm listening to them always.
Yeah, reminds you of home, especially when you're so far.
Exactly.
All right, we'll give the listeners a chance to listen to this jam, and we'll be back on the flip side.
If you've just joined us, you are listening to Kunda Ud. Oh gosh.
Oh, that's
Just
the
this
first.
Just this morning, I was saying I find it so hilarious when Unda can't say Unda and Kuda.
Yeah.
Now it's me.
Yeah, karma,
You
instant
are
karma.
listening to Unda and Kuda on NUST FM. I got that right.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
in
yeah.
studio today we have ourselves Prof. Samuel John. We're really focusing on the green economy. We're talking about green hydrogen, Lüderitz, NUST, Germany, and everything in between. We're having such a fabulous time. So we're glad that you can join us for this conversation. Now, Prof, whilst green hydrogen is the topic right now, everybody's talking about it, but we must also speak about the skepticism. There are a lot of people that are saying it's just not feasible. It's not sustainable. It's costly. What would you say to persons with this kind of perception?
Well, yeah, I think these are the real questions. These are the things that you find on the ground. You have people that are still skeptics. But I think the world is moving very fast at the moment. If you look at the projects that have been announced worldwide, if you look at, if you take Morocco, for example, they're actually more ahead of Namibia in terms of developing this technology. And green hydrogen is not a new concept. It's been there. It's just that we had a terrible accident, let's say in 1938, of the airship. I don't know whether you know the airship, the Heldenbuck airship. So there was, so there was that accident, this balloon that goes to the atmosphere and the normal. So they had hydrogen in one of those, and it went down, and a couple of people died from that accident. And also producing the hydrogen, as you've rightly pointed out, is still quite expensive. So, and the reason is because scientists never pursued it further, because fossil fuel came and it's so cheap and so available. Yeah. So why not? So,
why not use that?
And so we really kind of abandoned the hydrogen concept. But with the global warming, this is now telling us that we cannot continue with business as usual.
Yeah.
It has been shown by scientific data that the higher the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is part of the greenhouse gases that we're talking about, the higher the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the warmer our Earth is becoming. And if we don't do anything, you can imagine that we will just boil ourselves or cook ourselves, fry ourselves, whatever you want to call it. And one day we will not have this Earth. And so, seeing that, we started to look at, the scientists are now looking at, okay, what is the best way to decarbonize?
Yeah.
To kind of reduce the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, or to reverse the process. And so hydrogen is being discovered, or become the next best energy carrier. the amount of projects that are going on, the technology advancement at the moment is, for me, tells me that there is no going back. We've actually reached the tipping point already in this technology. So for skeptics, they just need to listen to the news these days. They just need to go on social media and see what is happening. We had was it a week ago? We had the Global African Summit, and it was a very expensive entrance fee, but the whole place was jam-packed. And you see companies from Germany were coming over to display. I mean, we have scholarships for students to go study and improve their knowledge in this field. It tells me something, that we have found something that it's very, very important for the reversal of this global warming, and that's why people are going into it. So for me, I think the skeptics need to just check up their skepticisms and get involved.
Just inform themselves, educate themselves.
Yes. But also in the same breath, I think we need skeptics.
Yeah,
just to
you
keep
do.
us in check so that we can answer all
agree.
these tough questions, so that by the time they come to this side of town, they're convinced.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think because at the moment, the grey hydrogen, as I explained to you, is produced using fossil fuel, is cheaper than any other form of hydrogen. You know, because I said we use hydrogen. It's not as if we have not been using hydrogen. We use hydrogen, but the way we produce the hydrogen. Now, the hydrocarbons, which is like your fossil fuel. So your crude oil, your petrol, diesel. From the crude oil, we produce petrol, diesel, and the rest of those. We can now produce our crude oil using green hydrogen without destroying our environment. And so beyond the hydrogen is what we call the PTX, that is power to X. So you have power to gas, power to liquid, like synthetic fuel, because you can't put batteries on an aeroplane, so we can still keep the engine as it is, but produce synthetic fuel without destroying our atmosphere. As a matter of fact, what we'll be doing is to capture CO2 from the atmosphere and produce green hydrogen and produce synthetic fuel with this. So that way we are not destroying the atmosphere. Or we have our green hydrogen, we capture nitrogen from the atmosphere. By the way, the air we have around us is 78% nitrogen. So we capture nitrogen from the atmosphere, we produce ammonia. And with ammonia, there are several other things we can use ammonia for. You know, ammonium nitrite, ammonium sulfate for the fertilizers and all kinds of stuff. So
now, Prof, that sounds like you've done a lot of research.
Of course.
And so I'm just saying that maybe then I can lean into this question.
Yes.
What are some of the research projects that you are currently working on, whether it be with students or industry partners? What are you currently working on that is also exciting for you?
Yes. So I have a couple of students, master students that are working with me. And I actually have a German student. He's arriving, I think, this week, who is also interested in doing the master's in green hydrogen. And we are collaborating with their university, and he's coming to do the research here. We are looking at how do we apply green hydrogen in the tourism sector. That is one of my favorite. We saying, can we have green tourism? Because at times people think, oh, everybody's talking about green hydrogen. Now we're going to neglect all the other sectors that contribute to our GDP. But we are saying, no, actually green hydrogen is here to enforce and make our other sectors even more viable. So we want to come up with how do you combine hydrogen? Because with hydrogen, you can produce electricity using fuel cells. So you store your hydrogen. You produce the green hydrogen in the daytime with solar. Where we don't have wind, you produce with solar. But the hydrogen you've produced in the daytime can be used at night to power the lodge. So we're actually working on a particular lodge. I don't want to put the name out in the air, but we have already received permission from the NWR to work on this particular lodge. And we want to come up with a concept of greening that lodge. Can we have 100% green lodge? You can imagine how that will sell in Europe, right?
Yes. And that's very exciting, as you rightfully said, because especially when you now speak about other sectors, when you speak about tourism, when you speak about what else you can just do overall for the GDP, I think it's great because then more people start seeing themselves in this process, to not just say, oh, it's strictly green hydrogen, it's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But when you speak about climate change, or you speak about all of these things, very topical things that people can relate to, which I think is quite exciting. Now, off air, we touched a little bit about your trip. You were recently in Rundu and so forth. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit, if my co-host will allow.
No, I will.
Thank you. Just how was, what were you doing, firstly, on this tour, if I can call it, in that part of the country?
Yes.
And how was it received, just the whole green hydrogen topic?
Yeah, so it was a very interesting trip for me, and it was actually a very pleasant time with the, it was Rundu Vocational Training Center. We had it there, and they were more the vocational students than their instructors. We had probably a couple of people from Ministry of Works and I think one other ministry, but the bulk were these blue collar job guys. And some of them, when I did my pre-test to find out the knowledge level of the topic, most of them didn't have a clue what we're talking about. You know, and so for me it was very exciting to be the first person to tell them about hydrogen and then green hydrogen. And you mentioned about pink hydrogen. I have a very interesting way of making my students to remember pink hydrogen and also blue hydrogen. So blue hydrogen is for the boys and pink hydrogen is for the girls. That's the way I try to put it. And pink hydrogen is produced using the most, let's say, complex source of energy.
Oh, wow, how convenient. Prof, how convenient.
Okay, jokes aside. It was really nice. It was an awareness, it was a master class. We covered topics of PTX, which is power to X, which is the bigger topic of the hydrogen industry. Which hydrogen is just an enabler for so many other things, for the production of ammonia, as I mentioned, synthetic fuels and other chemicals for chemical feed. And so it was well received. And the students were very, very enthusiastic. They were so alert. And in between, I normally have some kind of quizzes, Slido kind of thing. And because it helps me to see, okay, have they grasped? Is there any understanding? Yes. And I was impressed with students who were listening to me for the first time. Some of them, this is the first time they're hearing about green hydrogen. And they now can explain to their friends what green hydrogen is. Not only that, but what is PTX? You know, how ammonia is produced, how synthetic fuel is produced, because we cover all those topics. You know, and the other, just to go back to my other research topic, another one that I'm interested in is the technology for producing hydrogen is called electrolyzer. Now, at the moment, there are three top technologies that I use: alkaline electrolyzer, PEM, which is proton exchange membrane electrolyzer, and then there is a solid oxide electrolyzer. In these three, only the alkaline electrolyzer is mature technology. The others are still developing. And I have undergraduate students, and we are working on producing our own electrolyzer. Actually, we have a prototype already. Don't get too excited. We have a prototype.
I was about to say,
my face is like, exactly.
We have
like, hold on.
We have a prototype already, and by the end of the semester, we are hoping to produce hydrogen in our lab and to demonstrate that we can scale this up if we want to. And a time will come where you can have a hydrogen system for your backup power just behind your house, especially in Namibia with our good solar radiation. And that's what I'm actually dreaming, that one day I will have something that, you know, just as you have a cylinder of LPG, you have a whole system where you produce hydrogen, store it in a cylinder, and at night it gives you the power that you need. And it's possible because I've seen a prototype in Germany. So I know we'll get there.
I think what is so lovely as well is just how humbling it is when you really go into the communities, go to the grassroots level, speak to people, and be able to impart this knowledge. They might not fully grasp the entire picture, but just to be able to say, I get this, I understand this. So when they pick up that paper and read the newspaper, they have an idea of what is
You've technically already just planted a seed so that the next person just waters it in.
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
awesome.
In fact, part of these conversations.
So, in Rundu, when I was given the topic on hydrogen production, we were going through the value chain. And at each stage, I now stop. After explaining, I pause. I say, okay, what technical skills can you see in this? And together we were able to come up with all kinds of skills.
Yeah.
A lot of which they are actually receiving training right there at the VTC. So we need a lot of skills in the technical field for this technology. And so just interacting with them and them also identifying and being able to say, yes, I can see that I need to work on this. I have some electrical knowledge, high voltage, low voltage. We need it there, and they can plug in.
Yeah.
And then they also didn't know about, some of them didn't know anything about Hyphen project or Darius and the rest of them. So I explained that to them. And I said, okay, go on the website and keep your eyes open, because by the time you're done with your studies, there might be an advert and you may need to just get into the job.
Now we're slowly coming to the end of this amazing episode. But Prof, with all that you have on your plate, all the travels, all the lectures, family time as well, how do you balance it all? And most importantly, how do you make sure you remain grounded at the end of all of it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love what I'm doing.
Passion.
We always hear
always
this one.
get it.
Oh, passion.
Yeah, I personally love what I'm doing. I chose teaching. I've been a lecturer for over 30 years now. So it's something that I really, really love doing. So being in the academic environment is for me is almost like a love affair.
Yeah.
And green hydrogen is my last lover, because I'm getting to the end of my career, and I really want to. My dream for NUST is that I will be able to help develop this field of green hydrogen to a level where I'll be very happy when I'm leaving that, yes, there is something. And Lüderitz campus is going to be our center for these activities.
Yeah.
We plan to work with industry, so it's not just our own little research, but actually it will be industry-based. So we want to be at the age of research and deployment of technology, so we can support industry. A lot of this industry that is coming up to Lüderitz to set up would need a lot of testing of new technology. As I've told you, that the technology is evolving, is actually new.
Yeah.
And we are so excited that we are right there and things are happening before our eyes. I read the news of a new electrolyzer. I'm like, okay, let me find out more. Exactly.
Yeah.
But Prof, you've only told us about the love. We need the balance.
Yeah.
Are we getting there?
Yeah. So I spend quite a bit of time with my children. As of course, my youngest is about 18 years old. And she is very busy also, I would say. Yeah. So I do spend time with family, quality time. And that's what I do mostly when I'm back. You see that my children, we have our own little studio at home.
I hope you featured in some of these songs, because you would be famous, like academic famous, and then like entertainment. Exactly.
Yeah, well, we all have other different passions. I'm
absolutely.
alive. I'm more or less, I don't know how you call it, but I do a lot of training in finding purpose and living your life and
spiritual
and spiritual, motivational. So that really is my balance of life. Even when I was in Germany, I actually had a whole workshop on purpose in a church. The church I was attending, we had a Saturday where we did a workshop on purpose, and the feedback was quite positive, So one needs to know his purpose, one needs to know what fits him, and one needs to know how to share your time.
Oh, wow, that's a beautiful way to end it. But unfortunately, that is it for another, or this special edition of the NUST, or rather Wait.
She's forgetting
I'm so
Unda and
confused. But of course, we've come to the end of another special edition of
Unda
Research
and Kuda.
Matters with Unda and Kuda right here on NUST FM. Of course, you can follow the Research and Innovation Partnership pages on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And you can also follow the NUST FM Facebook and Instagram pages. Now, in case you've missed our previous episodes of Research Matters, you can check out our YouTube channel because all our previous episodes are uploaded, and you can just, lay in bed and catch up on all of those that you have missed. But again, Prof. John, thank you so much for making time to speak to Unda and Kuda right here on NUST FM.